Let's talk about one of the most overlooked features of the PlayStation 5, activities. So we learned about the activity card feature of the PlayStation 5 a little bit before launch when Sony did their deep dive into the UI. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, basically this is what it looks like. And anytime you're playing a game, you can press that PlayStation button and be greeted with this overview menu. And games that have supported activity cards will essentially give you a list of different missions or things you can do while in that particular game. So if you're sitting around wondering, what am I supposed to be doing in this game? What could I do next? You hit that button, boom, there is a list of things to do. I think it's really cool to actually see this in action. I'm going to show a video here on Twitter where this player is, swinging around New York as Miles Morales. He brings up that menu, finds a mission that he wants to do, selects it. It actually tells him how much time it will take to complete that mission, what the XP reward is going to be. He accepts it, and then very quickly he is now in front of that character with the button prompt there to begin that mission. Now I got to admit, when I first saw this feature, I was kind of, not super overwhelmed by, the possibility there. But the more time I think about it, and after reading this article on vice.com, which I think you should go check out. It's a really good read, and I'll link to it in the comments. I'm really beginning to come around on this concept. And the reason is because what Sony is doing is they're tapping into a couple of different psychological, let's say, tendencies that people have. Not everybody sits down to play a game and they're going to play it for 6 hours. Some people sit down and maybe they only have 10 minutes. So the ability to bring up that activity view and to see what missions you could get done before you have to go to work or go, do whatever it is you have to do as an adult. That's going to allow you to play something when maybe before you would have thought, I don't have time to play this game, so you're going to move on. Think of it as the cell phone mobile gaming style gaming setup where you're going to play in small chunks here and there. I could see where this ability would potentially make people play more games when maybe they wouldn't have thought they had time in the past, because you know what the reward is, you know how long it's going to take, and you're not going to have to, get lost trying to get to the mission in an open world game like Spider-Man. Now, granted, in Spider-Man games, a big part of the fun is just swinging through the city. It's fun to just navigate. So maybe in a game like that, you're thinking, well, I don't want to shortcut my way to a mission. I want to swing through it more organically. And maybe that's true for you. But something actually referenced in the Vice article is how the activity view actually made this person be more of a completionist. They actually found themselves ticking boxes, essentially, opening up that view and seeing immediately, I have these missions left to be done in order to complete the game. If you're a completionist, this is going to be a godsend for you. He writes here, you could scan the map to find an enemy base to invade, or you could just pull up the card for one and immediately be dropped into the activity. You're not near the place where the activity starts or around the corner, but already part of the action. In the case of a side quest that involves talking to someone for the activity to start, you're placed directly in front of them with the button prompt for everything to pop off already queued up for the player. And that's what I showed you in that video. I think this is really interesting and important as well. He says it's a moment where the many quality of life improvements of the PS5, such as the speedy hard drive to release loading times, which granted, without that, the activities thing is going to be a real pain in the butt because you hit it and what's it going to take? 30 seconds to get to the mission. With this speedy SSD, boom, you're just right there. He says this is where all these improvements begin to work in harmony. Find activity, go to activity, finish activity. Check. The PS5 says this activity would take 15 minutes and I've only got 10. Okay, I'll do something else. He says, I ended up playing much more of Miles Morales, even the repetitive parts, because it was easy and fun enough to breeze through while tossing on a podcast. I think here that the biggest thing that we have to keep in mind is, will this feature be widely enough supported to really end up being a game-changing type of thing? Obviously, Miles Morales is a first-party game, so of course they're going to take advantage of all those features. Will other games that are not made by Sony-owned studios take advantage of Activity View? Think about it like this. Let's say, just hypothetically, Assassin's Creed Valhalla supports this on PS5, Xbox Series X doesn't have anything like that. Will that become a defining factor that, man, if I play it on the PS5, it's going to be much easier for me to wring every bit of entertainment out of this game when compared to another platform where you're going to have to more aimlessly wander and hopefully stumble across things? Will the ability to just go into activity cards maybe diminish the magic of stumbling into something? You know, that there's a fine balance that has to be met there. When you look at something like Skyrim that people are still discovering side plots and side quests in all these years later, if they're all explicitly written out in the game in these cards, do you lose some of the magic of a game like that? Time will tell on this one. It's going to be really interesting to see how this is taken advantage of, how it works, what that balance is going forward. So guys, that's all I've got for you on this one. Stay tuned for more coverage just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends. If you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a Scary If Literal member. You'll get access to a whole bunch of emoticons to use with live streams and a shout out on an upcoming video. Thanks as always for your continued support.